Dinner in Hell Band!
Oh my God! Every frickin' time we come and see these guys, it's high voltage.
Yeah, they're just incredible. Welcome back for another exciting edition of the Dinner in Hell podcast, the show where two amateur historians talk about the atrocious underbelly of history. I am one of your co-hosts, Brad the Impaler, and with me, as always, the real Ron Maiden.
Hey, it's me. Hi, Brad.
Oh, it feels good to be back in the studio.
Sure does. This band is killer. The audience is...
Looking great.
Man, it warms my heart.
Yeah, it just makes my tiny little black heart grow like 4 sizes.
You know, you got to have a black heart to do the Dinner in Hell show. I mean, you can't have a normal heart. But this, it gives me a funny feeling when the audience warms my heart. I'm not used to that kind of feeling, so it's like it scares me
a little. But it's okay to be vulnerable sometimes.
It's like when like the it's like you're uncertain of it. Was it like native like if a space man traveled back in time to a caveman? The caveman be like, huh? That's like me when my heart's warmed.
Like the monkeys at the beginning of 2001 Space Odyssey when they see the monolith.
Yep.
Yeah, just like that.
Friggin' episode 54.
54. Back in this. What are we getting at on episode 54, Ron?
Oh my God, not only on this episode will we cover our first Tsar.
Oh.
But Mother Russia's first Tsar of all time.
That would be Ivan the Terrible.
That's right, Ivan the Terrible. Today's subject, probably best known for his meddling in the election of the Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent in the Ottoman Empire election back in 1540.
He hacked it.
He was like getting involved in it. Yeah, he like manipulated this crazy. We're going to get to the bottom of the Ivan the Terrible Ottoman Empire. That's what this is going to be about.
Yeah, so Ivan Vasilievich, as he was born, you know, he is in a lot of ways sort of like analogous to Russia's, you know, like George Washington, like a real founding father type, you know? And he accomplished a whole lot of good for Russia and established a lot of, you know, their long and storied history. But this is a Dinner in Hell show, so we're probably going to gloss over most of that.
Yeah, his name is Ivan the Terrible. He's known as Ivan the Terrible. Ivan the Terrible. He's done terrible things. But back then, terrible didn't exactly translate to English as like, terrible. It was more like
formidable, like dangerous.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have quite as bad a connotation as the word terrible does.
But why is there even an argument on that? Like, it's terrible. Just say it's terrible. It does mean terrible, yeah. Because with the shit he did. Oh my God, we're gonna talk about an execution method today that I've almost spit my freaking Zima all over my fucking dash of my Sundance when I was sitting there listening to it by the beach.
Back on the Zimas, huh? I thought you were on a real Bartles and James kick.
Yeah, the tape cassette just flipped over to side B. You know, on my Alice in Chains Dirt cassette. Sipping Zima. But anyway, no, I was listening to I was reading the notes about the execution methods. Holy shit, this is going to be one of the best ones in Dinner in Hell history.
Well, like we usually do on this show, let's take it back to when little Ivan was born. And that would be August 25th, the year 1530. Now, his old man is Vasily the Dark. Are they going to try and tell us dark means something good now too? No, it doesn't mean dark.
Dark meant like light.
It doesn't really mean dark. It means like cool and good.
No, like the way what they're making it sound was like terrible, and the other one was like fearsome or formidable, that's kind of terrible. You know, that's kind of like...
Yeah, but it's terrible is bad, formidable is good.
Would you want to go on a car trip, long road trip with someone who's known to be formidable?
Depends what kind of shit's going down on the other end of that car trip.
But, so, yeah, what there's on those standards, Dark is probably like, no, he's, the
dim.
The dark gray.
Yeah.
The unlight.
Yeah.
The muted. I don't know.
Yeah, so Vasily the Dark, he was the Grand Prince of Moscow or Muscovy or however you want to call it, this little medieval state.
Right now we're going to call it Muscovy because we're going to be for continuity.
Okay, Muscovy.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Muscovy is like Russia, a big city in Russia.
Moscow.
But it's Muscovy currently in this episode because Ivan creates Moscow. He makes it Moscow. Am I right? The fuck? Cut the show. Everybody out.
I just think maybe Muscovy, I've only ever heard the name of the kingdom, the medieval state.
Okay, well.
And Russia didn't have most of their territory at this point. Muscovy or the Principality of Moscow. All of the Russian shit is way more foreign than people think it is. They write everything in Cyrillic, so every goddamn website you go to, everything's spelled differently. It's hard to keep people straight. I don't know what the kingdom's called. I don't know what the city's called. It's translated a million different ways everywhere you look.
So Vasily is the Grand Prince?
He's basically the king of a relatively, compared to modern Russia, small medieval kingdom, monarchic state. Yeah.
But his title is Grand Prince?
Yes.
Okay.
Like the top dog is the Grand Prince of Moscow.
Okay. There's no higher than Grand Prince. Okay.
Because there's other princes. Like of these noble families that you'll come to learn about and loathe, they all have a prince at the top of their families. And then the Grand Prince is the boss of all the princes.
Reminds me of Prince of Darkborn. I miss that Osborne show. It was such a quality program. Sharon, the Prince of Darkness, for Christ's sake, Sharon. Sharon. Oh, Aussie, get on the treadmill, Aussie. Remember, he'd always be on the treadmill,
like walking,
stumbling.
Yeah.
He's like just white as a ghost. Like, bro, you live in California. Go out in the sun, man.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
He's like completely fried by all the crazy drugs he did in the 80s.
Snorting ants.
Yeah, that's a fun story.
Go Ozzy. We're going to do an Ozzy episode.
Yeah, probably one day.
Dinner in Hell episode 692. 666 going to be about Diary of a Madman.
Yeah, so the Grand Prince, Vasily the Dark, he wasn't around a super long time. His old man, when he was out on a hunting trip and he was overcome with pain from an abscess on his hip. Sounds like it would be a painful thing. And, it's infected.
Simple, just get bloodlet. Don't they still do it back then? We did a bloodletting episode.
They were doing it around then.
All you got to do is do a little bloodletting.
Yeah, balance those humors, baby.
Get the black bile out. Get the yellow bile out. Some blood.
Yeah, your shit will be back together in no time.
Didn't work?
No, doctors could not get rid of the infection. And he asked to be returned to the city of Moscow to die. And he was made a monk, taking on the name Farlam before he died.
He was made a monk? They were like, all right, look, this guy's going to live for like 2 to 8 days, Doc's saying.
Yeah.
Let's make him a monk. Mm-hmm. Let's hook this guy up. He's wanting everyone to call him Varlam. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. We're just going to let him live out his days as Varlam, guys.
Yep.
We're going to shave our heads and pretend we're all monks too.
Yeah, totally.
Like no one else was a monk.
They're just tricking him. Yeah.
Like, he wanted to be the only monk. He's like, you guys be monks too, okay? I don't want to be the only monk. Yeah, we'll be monks, Varlam.
Or it's like the one guy who's like in charge of dealing with him is like, okay, I'll get the abbot of the monastery. What do you know? He was in the hallway, and he just drags in like a random cook. Be like, hey, you're the abbot of a monastery. Make this guy a monk real quick.
So
let me shave that weird little circle in the middle of your head.
So Vasily the Dark is now Vasily the Dead.
Vasily the Croaked, I believe.
Vasily the 6 feet under.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done. And that makes little 3-year-old Ivan the Grand Prince of Moscow. He's the hereditary heir to that top dog title.
What's up? It's a real new prince on the scene, kids. 3 years old.
Mm-hmm. And his regent, because they did not want to put a small toddler in charge of the kingdom, was his mother, Yelena.
Oh, cool. Should work out good.
She was kind of nasty, and the bloodshed around Ivan begins immediately. First to go, Ivan's uncle Yuri.
Why?
He challenged the young lad's rights to the throne and was promptly arrested by Yelena, thrown into prison, and
no bathroom breaks.
Yeah, no bathroom breaks and no food, and he was left in there to starve to death.
No food? What do you mean? He had to eat his clothes?
I don't know if he ate his clothes or not, but I do know that he starved to death in that prison cell.
You just eat your hand. Start with your hand. You can live on, bro. Eat your own foot. Come on, man. We're talking about surviving here.
I don't know if I mean, how are you gonna stop the infection?
Can you imagine Yelena's sleeping in her bed one night? She's asleep in her bed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, just blew the last candle out. All of a sudden, there's she hears this heavy thud dragging in the hallway. Slimy coming closer. The door handle cracks. Door opens up slowly. She's in her bed like, what? And it's freaking Uncle
Yuri.
He's got no hands and no legs below his knees. And he's fucking nubs. And he's like, I'm going to get you, bitch. He burps his own body part burp. You know how you burp like Taco Bell? You burp. Oh, fuck, Taco Bell. He's burping up his own body part. Oh, fuck, that's my body part smell. And she's like, good Lord. And scene. You want to freaking film that? You want to produce that? You got to contact us. Where?
Dinner in Hell Pod on Twitter.
There you go.
Also, we get to be executive producers. I don't know what it means when you get the executive, but my ego demands it. So go ahead and jot that down in your credits right now.
I just want an action figure that looks like me.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So
you could pose him.
Yuri was left to starve to death in this prison.
Yeah, thrown into prison and just left there to starve. Another one of Ivan's uncles also got executed, and here's the thing about him. There was no evidence of his guilt. It was more basically just paranoia on Yelena's behalf.
I don't like your face, Yelena.
Yeah, hang him.
I don't like your face. I don't like the way you look at me. Wipe that face off your head.
Or I'll do it for you.
Friggin'. So he's out of the picture. So it's just Ivan and Yelena?
Yep. And
got each other, and that's enough.
For now.
Let's give it a shot.
All right, yeah. So until he's 8, when Ivan's 8 years old, everybody else gets kind of sick of Yelena's bullshit, and somebody's finally had enough, and she gets assassinated by poisoning.
Yep. That'll do it. We just did a program, Lacusta the Poisoner, the episode before this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably in that long lineage, someone in Russia cooked one up that went to Yelena.
Yelena time traveled.
I do assume that is exactly what happened.
Someone went from the future, from after our time now, went back and got Lacusta, took her to Muscovy, boom, did the deed. Yelena, out of here.
So you may ask yourself now what happens to Ivan now that his Queen Regent mother is dead.
He's 8?
8 years old. He can't take the crown yet. They won't give it to him yet. Somebody's got to take care of him. So essentially what happens is he and his younger brother, Yuri, who was, deaf. So that's already one strike. That's going to put you a little bit behind the 8 ball at the beginning of your life, losing a major sense like that. And things wouldn't get too better because they were completely neglected and very frequently abused by the noble boyar families that were taking care of them.
What are the boyars like? The wealthy?
They're like the aristocrats. Like it's a hereditary system of nobility. Like, you know how in England there's like the Grand Duke? Those are like the boyars. Yeah.
Was there like there's a few different family names that took care of him?
Yeah, the most prominent families were also the ones that were the most often responsible for Ivan and Yuri, and those were the Shuiskis and the Belskis. Now, they also had an intense power struggle with one another. So, I mean, you got a child king. That's a pretty big power vacuum. You remove his mother, Regent, and that's an even bigger power vacuum. So they had a big time feud during this period, and from the age of 8 was regularly witness to assassinations, beatings, all kinds of brawls, any variety of attacks or violences.
I just wanted to point out the fact that, we have revealed in a couple of our shows that terrible people as adults have had messed up childhoods. That serial killer Chikatilo,
Dahmer,
he was dealing with like the war in his country, right? Dahmer's childhood, well, his parents fought a lot and he was a little bit neglected, I guess.
Yeah.
But he also had something weird going on in his brain that made him realize.
Made him like a bone person. Yeah.
Like, I can eat human.
Yeah. Maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah. Chikatilo.
Yeah, you definitely see some of this here with Ivan. You'll see other examples coming up shortly too. But his life in the palace, like you said, was extremely brutal. I mean, they'd throw cute little robes on him and trot him out for like ceremonies that he absolutely had to be there for and shit. But he basically was completely neglected. He went without food or proper clothing all the time. The like quintessential beggar king.
It's funny that you say that because according to skaldic poetry, all Ivan ever wanted was Burger King. You say Beggar King, and quickly made me think of that. All he wanted was a Whopper from Burger King. It was like, that's how they started calling him Beggar King. He's like, I want Burger King. And
Burger King. But nobody ever paid any attention to him, so he could barely talk.
Like, what the fuck is Burger King? What are you talking about? Like, Ivan had some Burger King knowledge back in 1537.
Flame broiled's just better, baby.
Ivan, as a child, Ivan was known as Ivan the Terribly Hungry.
Yeah, that would be an apt nickname for him during his upbringing. Yeah, there was worse than neglect, too. I mean, it's sad when neglect is your better option, but Ivan and his little brother were also the frequent rape victims of the boyar families. So, yeah, the childhood abuse, that always blooms.
It's like, welcome, this is Russia, baby. We're just raping. Welcome to rape life. We're not making fun of rape, but we are trying to make people enjoy the show and maybe laugh a little.
Now, as a child, he could not wreak his great vengeance upon the people who had harmed him so much in his childhood. So, what does he do? He deflects that feeling, and he spends a lot of time being a little Jeffrey Dahmer. He was known to blind birds or disembowel them, just sit around having a grand old time ripping their feathers out.
Because he couldn't really fight the adults.
Yeah, so he's like, well, I'll just take all this anger and kill a bunch of little birds with it. He would have made a really, really good master pricker, though.
I was reading stuff on this guy, and it said that he would take dogs and cats and animals to the top of the tower and throw them out the window off the top of the tower to watch them splatter on the ground.
Tell me they had parachutes, Ron?
And bears. It's like, he would take even cats and dogs and sometimes bears up to the top of the tower. It was like a YouTube video. Mm-hmm. And I was like, bears? What the frick? Grab that bear. It's like Russia just has bears around. Like we have like squirrels. They're like, God damn, there's a bear at the park over by the slide. Like, what? We have squirrels where we live.
They just ignore them.
Like, God darn it, there's a bear.
Hitting a bear with your car would be very bad. It'd
Just
probably just make it angry.
Just leave them be. Chase mailmen up and down the street. Mm-hmm. Bears.
Yeah, sounds like a fun kid, huh?
There's a video on YouTube of a Russian guy, like a bear's coming up on the guy, and the guy's like, get the fuck out of here. And he's like fighting him off, like, get the fuck out of my yard. What's wrong with you? And the bear's like, oh, shit.
Black bears, you like sneeze and they'll get terrified and run away. Grizzly bears, though, that's a different ball game.
Freaking koala bears, they just kind of chill and they just sit there.
Dude, have you ever seen them fight?
I haven't been to a koala fight since I was a boy.
I know. The triads still, I owe them a lot of money. But it's like, fucking they make the craziest noise ever. It's out of control.
Better than tortoise mating noises?
It's along those lines. Like if I heard it in the dark and I didn't know what it was, I'd be real frightened about what was on the path behind me.
If we could come up with that noise, would you like to have it on our show?
I think so.
For reference?
Koala fight noise.
Koala fight noise. Okay. Now, tortoise mating noise. Okay. Now you've got them both.
Which one of those do you think was more crazy? Tweet at us. Let us know. The feud wasn't just between the Schwiskis and the Belskis. After all, they were oppressing the shit out of his position and trying to ascend themselves to the supreme power. Once, the Schwiskis had a confidant of Ivan's, Fyodor Musherin, skinned alive in the public square in Moscow.
God dang it.
Oh, your friend? Let's go see what we do to your little friend that you made, Ivan, for you to keep your shit in line and decree what we fucking tell you to decree.
Not Ivan's friend. You're gonna kill Ivan's friend?
Yeah, we're gonna skin him alive in the public square. Make you watch it, so you do what we say.
You on board, Ivan?
I think he'd get on board after that. But only to their faces. Little Ivan, behind their back, hating them and planning his revenge for the entire time.
He's watching Django Unchained over and over. He's like, I'm going to get my revenge.
Now, 4 years later, Ivan arranged to have Prince Andrew Schwisky arrested, the head of the whole Schwisky clan, and then he threw him into an enclosure with a pack of starved dogs who immediately tore Prince Andrew to pieces.
You see, this is where I think Ivan's starting to evolve a little.
Call it formidable, call it terrible, tomato, I suppose.
I'm like this. He went from throwing dogs from the towers down to the ground and killing them to fucking nourishing them and feeding them.
Yeah, it was a great act of love to those dogs.
He loved those. He loved those dogs. He felt bad that they were starving.
He loved those dogs specifically.
Yeah,
not all dogs
in the pit. And he hated his uncle at the same time. He's like, you know what? Let me do something good.
I'll starve them so that they really appreciate the food that I'm going to give them.
Because I'm going to kill him in either way.
Yeah. It's getting two birds stoned at once, man.
As at this point in his life, Ivan was known as Ivan the Evolved.
He gets a new nickname every time he goes up a level.
That's right.
The medieval Russia RPG.
By the end of the show, he'll be Ivan the Terrible.
Terrible.
You'll see, Kenny.
Now, this ended the rule of the boyars effectively. I mean, I can't think of many better ways to, send a message than have one of their compatriot princes be torn apart by wild, starved dogs.
Right.
That got everybody in line, and they were out of control forever. He basically cemented his authority then. That was when he was 13.
Mm-hmm.
Something that might not jibe with what will come to pass is he was also very devoted. He was very religious.
Right.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he would spend so much time praying in front of the idols, the statues, that he got a calloused forehead.
Yeah.
From his head being on the floor while he was praying.
Yep.
Also, as sort of a nervous tic throughout his life, when he would get overly agitated or upset, is he would bang his forehead on shit. Like, I don't know, that makes me think like it might be like symptomatic of a compulsion or maybe indicative of some placement on the autism spectrum.
What if he loved walnuts? He could just put the walnut on the counter. Just freaking no problem. I don't need a nutcracker. I'm good.
My forehead's hard as a rock. Don't worry about it.
Nutcrackers are pussies. I use my forehead. He's got shell pieces all in his forehead skin.
Yeah, he's just cracking walnuts and shotgunning beers with his frat brothers.
Ivan the Crafty. Now we're at Ivan the Crafty level.
Ivan the Delt Sig.
Ivan at Pinterest.com. You too can crack open my walnuts.
Yeah, well, walnut cracking might have been a good gimmick on Vine. Rest in peace.
Do it the Ivan way. Grab yourself a nice oak board. Cutting board will do. Set your walnut down. Smash it down with your head. Clean off your forehead before company arrives. Dude was quite a bookworm.
Yeah, absolutely. He was very studious. He was basically locked up, prisoner inside his own home for his entire life so far. So, I mean, he got bored enough to basically read everything. He was just tearing ass through the library. Also, probably a pretty good place to hide out from your terrible foster families.
Dude was, like you say, always had his nose in the pages of a good book. He's always looking to read.
Always learning.
But that didn't keep him from frickin' going out on the streets and causing shit, starting shit, causing crime.
Oh, yeah. He had a bit of a wild hair, if I do say so myself as well.
A mohawk? What do you mean a hair?
I mean, he was a little crazy. He was a roustabout.
Him his droogs?
A no-goodnik. Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
And this might ring a bell. He would roam the streets with a gang of, like-minded hoodlums.
Nero.
Yeah, randomly attacking people, robbing them. And what do you know? As abused as a child, he was also an extremely prolific rapist of both men and women.
Just a little known thing, a little known fact about Russia back then. Rape was about as common as a handshake.
I don't know if it was that bad, but again,
it was happening.
The past is not a pleasant place to be a woman.
Or 8-year-old Ivan the prepubescent.
Any type of weakness you may have, or any perceived, inferiority on behalf of the shitty people means you can't go back. You never want to go back. Forward's always better.
Yeah. People are like, people don't spank their kids no more. God, what's the world coming to? It's freaking getting nicer all the time. Just imagine. Your parents beating your ass. Your parents beating your ass.
Yeah, that shit doesn't even really happen anymore.
You want your hand to strike fear into your child's mind and have your child fear you? Like,
I will say,
supposed to protect your child.
I mean, I didn't.
That's awful.
Other than like maybe a very occasional spanking when I was like a real little kid, my parents never hit me at all. But that is definitely not true about like most of my friends.
Yeah.
Like I had friends that in like middle school or like high school, like they'd get their asses beat with like a belt if like they got like bad grades and shit like that.
So
like pretty common then, and now like I don't think anybody does it at all. Or
no, they do.
But it's
There's
like
people out there
like abuse now. People are like, oh yeah, it's like you don't just beat up children. That's not a good idea.
There's people out there that are like still like dipshits about it. They're like, no, fuck that. He will mind me.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you.
Like maybe you just try to foster an environment of creativity and understanding where your child can grow safely.
Besides him also like going on rape sprees with his crew.
Oh, I should mention, it feels kind of like piling on, but I feel like it's also important to notice that they would generally murder their victims.
Yeah, like they wouldn't live to tell the story.
Yeah, this was accomplished by hanging or cut. Occasionally, because they're all over the place, they were also fed to bears. Yikes.
Big old brown grizzly bears, man.
Yeah, so Ivan the Terrible did some great things, but I'm going to go ahead and say to just keep the terrible on there. And it's fine that it just means terrible.
So now he's Ivan the Terrible because he's done the rapes and the murders.
Oh, yeah. I'd say he's fully earned the nickname by this point.
So he turns 16. He's becoming a ruler now. He's growing into the age.
He is officially crowned at the age of 16 with Monarch's cap, which was initially a gift of the Khan of the Golden Horde.
Nice.
They still have it, too. It's, I think, on display in the Kremlin.
Nice. We gotta look it up.
Now, when he was crowned, he was looking to change some things. He didn't accept the title Grand Prince of Moscow. He accepted the title the Tsar of all the Russias. Now, this elevated him in importance, because you may have picked up on it. Prince sounds kind of weak.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't if you're a rock and roll man.
If you're from Minneapolis?
Yeah, if you're from Minneapolis, Prince means you're God.
Hey!
Dearly beloved.
You better know.
Yeah, but if you're a ruler of a kingdom and you're the prince and everybody else is like your neighbors are like, I'm the emperor.
I'm
the supreme leader.
Sultan is like, look out of the way, prince.
Yeah. It's just, it feels shitty when you got to go to like the block party, I guess.
Sultan coming through.
Yeah, so he takes Tsar, which is just Russian for Caesar.
Yeah. He doesn't take it. He invents it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what the title he accepts when he's crowned.
They're like, we're going to crown you boss. And he's like, I'm Tsar. I already came up with the name.
All right, whatever you say, Tsar.
Do you want to be skinned alive? Do you want to be fed to bears? It's Tsar.
So 2 weeks after the coronation, Ivan marries Anastasia Romanova, beginning what you might call the Romanov dynasty of Tsars, which ended in a Rasputin episode, The Mad Russian.
Solid episode.
Yeah, I think that was a fun one, too.
There's some wild things around involving Rasputin. Woo! Lots of laughs on that one. His mouth.
Oh, God.
Woo! The man didn't really worry about fluoride.
Yeah, not too much.
Or brushing or, When he smiled.
He didn't worry about a lot of stuff.
When Rasputin smiled, cars slowed down. Okay? Rasputin's teeth,
like plants wilted.
Rasputin's teeth were so yellow, I couldn't believe it's not butter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, except they were actually black.
Yeah.
It's so much worse than you initially thought it was.
He's like French kissing like people at sex parties in the woods. Rasputin, look it up. Okay. Tsar, what is her title now at this point? She's married to a Tsar.
Now, I've seen it sometimes I've seen it as Tsarina, and sometimes I've seen it as Tsaritsa.
See, I haven't seen it as Tsarina. I heard it as Tsarina on a YouTube video. That's how I know Tsarina.
Yeah, I don't know if I just don't understand the difference between the two terms, or if, like, at a certain period it switched, or if it's just different weird translations, which happens with Russian, and I've encountered quite a bit.
So they get married. They want to start a family.
They do. They eventually have 6 children, but only 2 survive through their infancy. Yeah, like 1500s Russia seemed like a real rough time to be born. Did not win the birth lottery there.
But she was like an influence on his life to where he wasn't so terrible. He was like Ivan the calmed down.
Yeah, kind of a dick, but pretty competent ruler. Yeah, and during this period is when he got lots of his good work done. Most of his, like, the cool shit he did for Russia that people remember him for, that's during this period. Most of that he gets done early.
Anastasia had a hand in on that.
Yep, she sure
like,
did.
Ivan, chill.
Yeah, she got him in line.
Drink this vodka. It's Mohawk. Drink it.
No, it's probably Kamchatka.
It's a new brand called Mohawk.
5 o'clock. Now, during one of these wars, and by which he expanded Russia's territory greatly, he got a serious fever, just like his old man. Now, and he didn't forget about that shit either, because he was afraid for his death. And he attempted to get all the princes and, all the boyars to swear an oath to his son Dmitri. Most refused to do this, which was a terrible idea. Because this was the real jumping off point for Ivan's paranoia. He already hated the boyars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now that they're like, we're not swearing an oath to your kid. And then his power is like, oh shit, I don't have this locked down as I thought I did.
Ivan the grudge holder.
Oh yeah.
That's how I think of him as.
Yeah, so he really centralized his power and consolidated it and really turned on the nobles. Now, this lasts until Anastasia dies, though.
What?
Yeah. But I don't think he was too popular among the nobles after he started cracking down on them. So, possibly poisoned, Anastasia dies. And this is when he really loses his shit. Because she did have a big-time calming influence on him, but that's all out the window now. I mean, and he did love her a lot. He was deeply upset when she died.
Heard he went nuts and frickin' fist fought his furniture.
Oh, he destroyed all of the furniture in his house with his bare hands, and probably head.
There's pictures, like artist renderings of him like fist fighting a futon, like one of his futons from one of his quarters.
Yeah, he did that to the whole house, and his house is a palace. So that's a lot of fighting against inanimate objects. But I don't care. If they're not fighting back, you're still going to get gassed, and his cardio here is impressive.
I mean, imagine a 1530s, 1540s era Russian futon. Imagine the size of this thing, and he's fist fighting it.
And to destruction, he wins the fist fight against the futon.
Just bloody knuckles. Bloody Russian knuckles.
Now, yeah, like I said, this is where this shit really kicks off. And he has lots of people tortured and lots of people executed once he recovers from that fever. This eventually includes his 3 closest advisors.
Oh, great.
At one point, he ran away. He took all of the treasures of the kingdom and just dipped. It was like, no, I'm not coming back. He was pouting.
Mm-hmm.
He said, the only way I'll come back and rule is if you grant me total power over everyone, including being the ultimate religious authority in the country. It was absolute total rule. And they were like, yes, please take total rule and come back. So he did. At which point, he decided to further centralize and consolidate his power by developing his own private secret police force that was not loyal to the kingdom. It was loyal to the man, Ivan the Terrible. I mean, we're talking. They were called the Oprichniki. They dressed in all black.
That's awesome.
For intimidation.
They're like Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm. And they were basically like mercenaries and former criminals. Like, they had no problem, no moral compunction against fulfilling the fucked up orders that they were to be given by Ivan the Terrible.
God damn it.
He carried around also a pointed metal staff that he would just fucking straight up unload on anybody who pissed him off. He would just beat them a lot of the times to death with his own hands.
Ivan the Grey. You shall not live.
Yeah, boom.
Strikes him down with this huge freaking staff.
Dude, fucking this guy's so mean, he might be able to take down a Balrog without magic. Just kick its ass out of sheer anger. His religiosity continued as well. He maintained his commitment to his faith throughout his life.
Right.
Well, I mean, sort of, I guess, because I'm pretty sure they're not like, yeah, it's totally cool to just beat people to death when they make you mad.
He would like confess, like they made it better.
Yeah, he would sort of ping pong back and forth wildly and be like, oh, I'm so pissed, I'm just going to beat this person to death for no reason. But then he'd like throw himself on the floor and like shame and grief over it and make like a big confession of it, and then he would just go back to living his life. But it seemed by a lot of people's accounts that he was genuinely regretful and like genuinely regretted doing it a lot of the times, which I find bizarre. I don't know how to take that.
So while he's religious, he's also, his crew is attacking churches.
Yo, yeah. It doesn't matter. He's religious, but if you go against him, he would literally send these Oprichniki into churches during Mass to abduct or sometimes right then and there murder the priest as he's giving Mass.
Oh, man. Can you imagine that?
Sitting in church.
Yeah. Like, I really like our new priest.
Boom! Doors come flying
What is
open.
this? Could you shut the doors? A draft, honey. It's freaking Ivan the Grey with
all
his staff.
The babushkas.
He's like, I'm gonna put a steer in that priest's head. God damn it! They're like, you're in the house of the Lord. You can't talk like that.
Shut up, Ethel.
He's like swinging the staff. Woman,
yeah,
don't sass me.
Just march right down the center aisle and just crack the priest's head open.
Priest dead. Follow me.
Peace out.
I'm Tsar.
Ivan out.
Tsar. I'm Tsar.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
And then he's like, please, God, forgive me. I killed a priest in front of his whole group of followers in a church. Lord, please forgive me. Yes, I forgive you. Like he's in confession booth.
He just zips around to the other side and says it back to himself.
Sounds good. Copy that. Okay, good.
You're all good. Get back out there.
Couple Hail Marys.
Do some interesting shit for next week.
You're going to have to pray the rosary.
4 times. Yeah,
okay.
So that's sort of where his head's at. He did declare himself the abbot of a new order, with the monks being the members of his Oprichniki. And, well, they would sort of have like these, nightmare orgies, I guess. Because the orgy usually, it connotates consensual. That was not the case with these.
These are against their will orgies?
Yeah, and a lot of times people didn't make it out the other end alive. I think that's not the case, generally speaking.
Do you mean that these poor freaking victims of this would be killed in the end?
Yes, I do.
So what kind of person goes to one of these orgies knowing that the person that they're doing against their will is going to be killed too? Like, this is history of humans.
Yeah, this is his monastic religious Christian order.
I'm talking about our show. We're the atrocious underbelly of history.
Yeah, we're digging it up for you.
And we're trying to, I don't know what we're trying to do. What are we trying to do here? Entertain, right? Basically.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Edutain.
But
This is edutainment. I gotta start hashtagging that in the show notes.
Edutainment. That's good. So they would go out, they would kidnap peasant women, strip them, have them used as target practice for soldiers, standing there nude.
That is just gross.
Hold still, god damn it. I'm a sniper.
Yeah, that one got me. That's the detail, I think.
Oh, I'd be like, please be a sniper. Please be good at sniping.
Yeah, you don't want to get winged.
Don't get me in like the rib. Like puncture a lung.
The like
smoke my head. Can I wear a white hat?
Or like your shin bone?
White hat so they can see it really good. Aim for the hat, you asshole. God damn it, do me the honor.
Yeah, quick is definitely always better. But still, this is not good. These are terrible people. Maybe that's why he got the name.
And now for what I would think is one of the all-time most unique and creative and almost comical deaths. Execution methods.
Yeah, there is a real itchy and scratchy flavor to this one.
This one here just really made me chuckle when I was reading it in our prep meeting.
Yeah. One boyar that he was displeased him. I'll let you do it.
Oh, dude, he impaled a prince.
Oh yeah, the prince.
He was a boyar. He strapped him to a barrel of gunpowder and had it exploded. Have it blown up. That's kind of like cartoons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It reminds me of something like Tom would have done, or Jerry would have done to Tom, or Itchy to Scratchy, or vice versa.
That Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, bye bye.
Like he finds himself like looking at the fuse, then looks at the camera. And boom.
Blinks twice.
Yeah, then he's
holds up a sign that says "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
Friggin' blows up the barrel of gunpowder. Where did they get gunpowder back then?
Dude, China's had gunpowder for like hundreds of years by that point.
They're like, don't tell the Chinese, but we can make bullets out of this shit. They're making like fireworks and things go boom, go pow.
Yeah, for fun.
No,
we're using them for evil.
We're using them to Oh yeah, because they were shooting bullets at the nude peasant women.
Mm-hmm.
Lest we forget.
Yes.
So there's bullets, 1570 era.
Yep. His treasurer got a pretty interesting death too. He was boiled to death in a cauldron. Goddamn. That's like sort of some brazen bull action. Reminds me of that.
Dude, if I was Tsar, I would keep that cauldron in the middle of like the square and be like, see that cauldron? You guys, everybody see that cauldron? Keep your freaking act together.
Yeah, that would be intimidating. I would definitely never want to experience that shit.
I'll put my treasure in there if I have to prove a point.
His counselor, he got hung. He was hanged. And then Ivan and a few of his buddies, while he was strung up there, just had big knives and they're just hacking chunks out of the dude while he was swinging.
Ling Chi'd him.
Yeah, but I imagine it was much cruder than the typical Ling Chi team, who was more like a NASCAR pit crew.
So they cut chunks of meat off a guy as he hung there. Great. And that's the show. Dinner in Hell Band.
No, not quite. We can keep jacking this up a notch. Well, this is one peak. In 1570, on completely uncorroborated treason accusations.
Unproved.
Yep, he took an army and attacked his own city, the city of Novgorod.
Like he had beat up his apartment that day when his wife died. He's like, I'll fight my furniture.
Yeah.
He's like, that's it. God damn it.
This city hates me. I'm going in there.
I'm going to war with my home city.
So he and his boy Dmitri, I'm sorry, Ivan. It was his son Ivan, not his son Dmitri.
Yeah, little Ivan, young Ivan. Ivan the younger. I don't know.
Ivan Ivanovich is his name.
Yeah, it's just plain Ivan, regular last name.
So they actually go to this, Ivan and Ivan are riding together through... I mean, it would be generous to call it a battlefield because only one side had an army. Remember, it was a country attacking itself. So it was sort of just more of a massacre.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if anybody attempted to put up a fight against this, but they just rode through the town on their spears, like laughing as they were randomly impaling people with their spears.
And little Ivan is seeing this?
He is loving it. He's right in the mix.
So now we got to do a follow-up on young Ivan and see how that affected him because, like we talked about earlier in the show, kids being exposed to these violent scenes and violence all around them turns them into like Ivan the Terrible, Andre Chikatilo. So I wonder if this young Ivan turned out to be like Ivan the even more terrible.
Well, he definitely...
Ivan the worst.
He definitely... That wasn't the only terrible violence he would be witness to. Ivan had this wife who he was quite fond of, and little Ivan, I'm talking about here, the young one. And
so proud of my son. He's got a new wife. She's beautiful.
Yeah, and he runs into her in the palace corridors.
Oh, hi. I'm your new dad. Did they get married?
No.
Oh, no, they're not married yet.
No, they are married.
Oh.
Little Ivan and his wife are married, and she's pregnant. A great time for a young family, right?
I just want to say congratulations.
Except he doesn't like the look of her.
I don't like the way you look.
What's the matter with my dress?
It's too tight around the body. It's just showing a little too much. I want it to be a little loose fitting, more loose fitting around the rest of the family.
Well, I think it's okay.
I'm going to bash you over the head and kill you and your pregnant self.
Well, she lives through the beating.
Oh.
A beating there was.
Oh, she had a miscarriage.
Yeah. She was beaten bad enough to miscarry their baby. Now,
you're lucky I didn't have my metal staff.
Yeah, he'd have probably fucking finished the job. So little Ivan, understandably pissed about this, right? Justifiably angry at his father.
Hey, Pop.
Hey, I just think what you did back there, it was a little out of line.
My unborn child's dead now.
Yeah, he was fucking pissed. So he storms in on his old man and basically starts giving him the hairdryer treatment, yelling at him about it. Because it's supremely fucked up. That shit's like unreal. And Big Ivan, though, he don't take too kindly to any sort of criticism. He's paranoid and already extremely violent. So that metal staff you were talking about earlier,
he picks it up and goes, and he looks his son in the eye and he says to him, what did you expect? What is my name? Ivan the what? Say it. He's like, I ain't gonna say it. Say it. What's my name?
Fuck you, Dad.
It's Ivan the goddamn Terrible. What did you expect? I'm the Terrible. I beat pregnant women. It's what I do. It can't be shocking to you, son. Ivan the Naive. That's his son's name.
That's his name now.
Oh my God.
Don't worry. He's gonna get a new nickname real soon. Because that metal staff.
Oh, that wasn't a direct quote. I was wrong. He picks up the staff.
Yeah, and he bashes his son's head in with it.
Oh, God damn it. So
and he dies 3 days later after having been in a coma.
Foreshadow complete. So I got a frickin' earlier when I was like, hey, let's look up what Ivan's up to and see how he finished out his life.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. Thanks for reading the notes, Dick.
Well, you just set him up for a surprise. It's all right.
Sometimes I pretend I don't know the notes.
Uh-huh.
I pretend I'm the listener. Like, oh, really? Tell me more about, Like, Alex Trebek happens to know everything about every answer because it's right in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, we're talking about the west side of Germany, not the east.
Oh, and just in case, for some reason, you thought we were done with Ivan, we're not quite there yet. He went on to marry again after Anastasia, and this included 7 more wives, at least one of which he murdered. I mean, there were like 3 or 4 that he sent away. I don't know if they ever got where they were going, but at least one he drowned.
What?
It's like, man, this guy does not want to kill the same person the same way. Like a different person the same way. He's a real completionist. He wants to get all the kills, all types in.
So you said he drowned one of the wives.
Yes, he just straight up with his own hands just grabbed her, put her head underwater, and murdered her.
It's because it was on the grounds that he found out that she wasn't a virgin.
Yeah, he must have felt like duped, and
she's probably like, "No, I'm a virgin. Seriously, swear."
And
I swear.
Man, he realized that she wasn't, and that was it for her, man.
He's like, no one lies to Ivan. Terrible. He's got shirts. Says I'm terrible. Sorry, I hit the mic. He's got a shirt that says, "Look out for Mr. Terrible." I don't know. Ivan the Terrible.
That isn't the only detail about his family either.
Didn't you have some extra info? Don't we have a little going deep moment?
Oh yeah.
Dinner in hell. Going deep.
Now, the interesting thing about Ivan's second son is that he was deemed too mentally unstable to serve as his successor.
Okay. Meaning if Ivan the Terrible was to die,
this guy's too crazy to take over.
Ivan Jr.'s already dead. So the next one in line is too mentally unstable.
Yeah. Now, this reminds me of someone that it just occurs to me right now could probably have a Dinner in Hell episode. Uday Hussein. Like a lot of people think Saddam Hussein, like crazy evil guy, right? Mm-hmm. Uday is so much worse.
Oh yeah. But there was
the father's bad, but the son's so much worse that it's just funny that he's disqualified when Ivan is what they let happen.
My dad's dictator.
Yeah, like what was this guy doing that they were like, whoa, we can't give this guy power. Yeah, what the hell was he up to? That's what I'd really like to know, you know?
All right, let's now we're going to go from Tikrit, Iraq. We're going to take it north back to Moscow. Frickin' Ivan also had another son that died mysteriously while he was a young boy.
And just judging by what this Russian court is like, he was probably poisoned.
I laugh because it's just freaking ridiculous.
I can't. It's like the whole world is like a prison TV show.
Didn't he have some amazing palace built by this highly skilled architect?
Oh, I believe you're thinking of St. Basil's Cathedral. Now, this is an incredible building, and when it was done, it met, nay, exceeded Ivan's wildest expectations. He was so happy with the way the building turned out. Now, you might think that would mean crazy good rewards for the architect.
Hell yeah.
Of that building, right? This incredible service that he just performed to the Tsar.
I'm freaking the Tsar's architect, baby.
Yeah, well, his repayment was to have both of his eyes gouged out.
What?
See, Ivan loved it so much, but he was a jealous guy, and he didn't want this architect to design anything as or more beautiful than the cathedral for the rest of his life. So he just went ahead and made sure that was impossible.
Well, it's funny because joke's on Ivan, because I read the architect's book that he wrote after the telling of the whole story. Mm-hmm. And basically he was like, joke's on you. I designed them all by hand.
Yeah, I don't think you did it in CAD.
Nice try.
Yeah. Now, Ivan had several issues that finally began to put an end to his reign of quote-unquote formidableness. Now, at some point in his illustrious career, contracted syphilis, which had gone untreated and was slowly driving him insane, as may be exhibited by his behavior.
Quick cure, Swig down some mercury.
Well, that'd help you with some pain, but it's not going to cure your syphilis.
No, the hot bath will cure syphilis. We covered that.
Yeah.
And we covered that in one of our mental health. They would give the syphilis people like extremely hot treatments.
Yeah.
Remember that? And it would cure their syphilis.
Just a shot of penicillin, but it wasn't invented yet.
So he's got syphilis escalating.
Yep, and the mercury that he took for pain was his other issue. He had chronic mercury poisoning. He was walking around with mercury poisoning all the time.
Like it's flowing through his veins.
Yeah, but his blood was like 40% mercury. It was all silver in there. He had a cauldron of the stuff that he kept bubbling all the time in his bedroom that he would just
Where do you get mercury at?
Where do you get enough mercury for a cauldron worth?
Where do you mine mercury?
How big is this cauldron?
It's the cauldron they put his uncle in.
Shit.
He's like, I want you somebody. You have to get a couple guys here, a couple big guys. You're going to have to, 1, 2, 3, you're going to have to carry it into my chambers.
Yeah, there's like 80 gallons of mercury in there just bubbling and spitting around in big ass fire.
Fucking his uncle's skeleton's all freaking floating around in there.
He's dipping one of those little Moscow Mule like copper cups in there and just slamming it down.
Oh, no. I thought he was freaking just had a horn full of vodka. Oh, yeah. Tsar life.
It's got rhinestones and diamonds encrusted on it.
He's got a jar with his architect eyeballs sitting on the mantle. He's like, hell yeah, those are architect eyeballs, baby. That's called a callback. I read callback books.
Oh, I got to get my hands on that one. If you'll remember, you can bring it back next time.
It's an ebook. It's an ebook. I'll have to email it to you or something.
Yeah, so these... They'll take a toll on you. Syphilis and chronic mercury poisoning, not the best combo. And eventually, as he sat down during an intense game of chess, he succumbed to a stroke. And in another full circle complete, he dons monk's robes and dies quietly later in his room.
Like Papa.
Just like Pops. Just like Vasily the Dim.
He changed his name. He's like, from now on, I want to be known as Ivan the
Monk.
Ivan the mercury-filled, poisoned freaking... By mercury poison. I thought you meant he'd do was just sitting around his place listening to Queen albums over and over.
Oh yeah, just like a night at the opera over and over and over again.
Got the moose, got the moose,
thunderbolts of lightning, very, very frightening me.
Ivan terrible.
Ivan terrible.
Ivan terrible.
Ivan terrible.
Ivan terrible.
Oh no, I will impale you.
He killed his son. He pushed his daughter-in-law down the stairs while she's pregnant, while she's carrying a child in her womb. We should try mercury just to like get an idea of what he was going through.
So we can describe
like do a shot of it each.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Let's go crack open some thermometers.
Let's go buy a whole bunch of thermometers. Freaking burst them open.
Yeah, surely nothing can go wrong with this. Hey, he had mercury poisoning and he was the king of an entire empire.
Strain the glass out.
Yeah.
We'll be good to go.
Hell yeah.
If you got like, if you want to get new carpeting, what you do is you call your insurance and you say, "Oh, I busted a thermometer on my carpet," and they'll replace all of it in the whole house.
Nice.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's Ivan.
That's Ivan, and that's how you get new carpeting. General fun fact.
That's Ivan the Terrible. I wouldn't hire him to do my carpets, I don't think.
Ivan the Deceased.
Yeah, he died right there.
First Tsar, because he invented the name Tsar. I'm Tsar. I'm not no god darn prince.
No, I'm the same as those old Caesars, like Julius.
Frickin' killed his son.
Amongst many others. I mean, I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, that Battle of Novgorod.
Yeah.
The death toll of that again, I say battle. It wasn't a battle.
Yeah.
The death toll of that may have been as high as 60,000 people.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this guy, has earned the name. And, I mean, as Mr. Barkley would say, terrible.
The terrible.
Ivan Terrible.
Now listen, Kenny. That doesn't even sound like him.
It kind of does.
Who he play for?
The Phoenix Suns?
No, there's a game that they play called Who He Play For.
Oh.
They show a guy's face and they're like, gotta say like, oh, Sacramento Kings. Like, I don't know.
That's mean as shit.
And he's a professional NBA analyst, a guy like.
You should fucking know.
Oh,
you should have a pretty decent handle on like the rosters of those teams.
There was a day where I could name every player on every team because I did the basketball cards. So I could name every player on every team, like
Yeah, I was pretty close to that with hockey. Yeah, I pretty much knew who all the players were from playing fucking like NHL 95. Like every year, I would have a full breakdown of the roster in front of my face at all times.
Yeah. Freaking Ivan the Terrible. Wow, that was a good one.
Is there anything we missed? Is there anything else you'd like us to cover? Please feel free to message us at Dinner in Hell Pod on Twitter. You can get at us at dinnerinhellpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, all kinds of other podcast shit. Just Google us. We out there.
We're on HyperPod. We're on Pod Tornado.
Pod Stravaganza.
We're on Pod Wizard. We're on Night Pod. We're on Steel Pod. We're on so many pods.
The hunt for Red Podtober. We're on there.
We're on frickin' Revenge of the Pod. New pod app.
Pod Wars. Pod.
So many pod apps.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
This audience and this band make me so happy.
Gorgeous and rockin'. Thank you and good night.